Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Today we have a very unique, very different style episode. We're here with a husband and wife team, Daniel and Rachel. They've come in from the hill country of Texas, which I have a great affinity for, and brought us a vehicle that's something that's a bit out of what we typically would do. So let's dig in on the company.
We own Vigilante 4x4, operated out in the beautiful hill country of Texas.
So Daniel has been doing Jeeps as a hobby for 25 plus years now at this point. When I met him, he had this gorgeous Jeep J10 truck parked in the parking lot. I had no idea who he was, but I saw this truck. Ended up sitting down next to him, and his excitement about Jeeps was just palpable. We had dinner together, we had a concert together. He called me from Belgium and said, hey, I have a road trip from Kentucky down. I have to pick up this Grand Wagoneer.
Right, $1,000 Grand Wagoneer.
Yeah, $1,000 Grand Wagoneer.
That's not happening.
Yeah, right. Well, we showed up and it was a banger. The whole road trip, I can't even mention how many times we broke down. But he saved us every time.
So you really know him inside out.
Oh,
Yeah.
inside and out.
Yeah.
By the end of that trip, we didn't hate each other. We were a good team. He loves that kind of adventure, right? He's the fix-it guy. When something goes wrong, he's like, sweet, challenge, jump out of the car, let's fix it.
Gotcha.
I, on the other hand, I love the old vehicles, but I want dependability. And I feel
100%.
like there's probably a lot more people who feel that same way. And so I mentioned to Daniel, I was like, man, these are such cool vehicles. Can we not put a newer engine that's dependable for people like me who don't want that adventure?
Yeah.
And I could just see the gears turning. And then like a year later after that conversation, a year and a half later, we decided to start Vigilante and started the whole research and development. And you know, there's just so much that goes into these vehicles, and
Yeah.
I'll let him get technical on that. But that's kind of how our story started.
There's the companies that do one-offs, and every car they build is a one-off. They're a custom build shop, and that's all they do. There's a small handful of what I put you guys in the category of, like Icon, like Rod Emery, Superformance, right? There's companies out there that are going, all right, let's keep all the classic heritage and design of what we have some great passion for, but let's make it a mechanically sound vehicle, because you're dealing with antiquated technology on these. I mean, you want to drive this to New York and it's the stock vehicle, you better be like you that knows how to fix everything.
Correct. So we started off by 3D scanning the bodies of the Cherokees, the Wagoneers, and the J trucks. Basically the same platform, just different length, width. Decided to stay true to kind of the heritage of the brand.
Yeah.
Keep the drivetrains modern Hemis, not do LSs like you typically find in the rest of mod world.
Yep.
But stay true to the identity of the vehicle. As you very well know, you start adding power. If you don't work on everything that delivers that power to the wheels,
Foundation up.
you're gonna
right.
have only trouble. The 3D scanning really helped. We developed a custom proprietary chassis, fully boxed, front to back, and everything from the body line down is brand new. We're not sourcing, a Hemi out of a junkyard and rebuilding that. No, it's a crate Hemi, comes with the wiring, can be serviced at any Dodge dealership,
Yep.
which is really important to us because we don't know where these cars go. 4-speed automatic, Bowler transmission, or a 6-speed manual, TR6060, which is a really solid
Very cool.
manual transmission, and then part-time Atlas 2 transfer case that is delivering the power to a Currie Enterprise Dana 60 in the back, a 44 in the front. We have 6-piston brakes all around, 4-link suspension, front and back.
Oh, really? It's 4-link front and rear.
Yes, so no more old shaggy leaf springs. Just very, very smooth driving. If you want to drive it from coast to coast, you can do that comfortably at 85 miles per hour with one hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
You can let your wife drive and you take a nap without, worrying about things.
I gotta imagine, you pull up most places and they probably think it's maybe a modified old Jeep
Correct.
Grand Wagon.
That's the trick, right? Like the wheels, in order to fit these big 6-piston calipers on there, we 3D scanned the wheel, the original wheel, and this
really?
is CNC'd out of a big chunk of aluminum in 17 by 9 instead of 15 by 7. The visual
And it's squared
effect,
like that, 17 by 9 all the way around?
yeah, really can't see it until you see the little Vigilante badge on there.
Yep.
And then you see the big caliper, and then you get a hint for it. But we just geek out on that kind of stuff.
I love it, though. I love it. Can we pop the hood?
Sure.
And what engine did you go with in this one?
So this one's got the 392, 392 crate Hemi, 485 horsepower. This gets a 4-speed automatic in the back, and then the Atlas transfer case.
I was reading a little bit about it, and you offer 3 different engine options.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few more that are coming up, but the 392 is kind of the power you want to see in these cars.
Yeah.
It's plenty of horsepower, but it's not dangerous, right? It's not, you're not scared. There's a smaller version, which is a 5.7, which is traditionally in the more standardized Mopar products. Then we have the Hellcat, which is, we've done a few of those. Pretty fun, but difficult to obtain for California nowadays. So we're not pushing for it. This is, most of what we do is this, right?
If somebody wants to go that option, they can.
Right.
I also saw that you guys are offering the option for people to put a Hellephant in it.
Correct. So it's all, we 3D scanned those engines, and this was all put in CAD. There's no firewall adjustments. There's no cutting out. That's really important to me, that we don't start making a custom car. Of course, it is different from the original, but we are not reworking the firewall to make that engine fit in there. That's super, super important.
Yeah.
You could literally just pull this body off and drop it on its original chassis.
Really?
And keep it like a classic vehicle, basically, right? Like an originally restored vehicle.
Yeah.
The Hellephant, we've had some demand for it. They are getting really, really hard to source nowadays.
Very difficult.
So it's a real fight to obtain them if you want to go down that route. We do have an alternative for it. It's a bit of a crazy story, but we have a client that had a Cherokee, and he said, look, I love this engine. It's basically a bored out 8.3 liter Viper engine made by a company called Prefix. And it's literally a 9 liter bored out Viper, Gen 5 Viper engine that has 860 horsepower. And the deal was...
It's just too much for this.
Well, we'll get into that.
Well,
right?
I'll say personal opinion.
Right.
But that's all it is, personal opinion. I'm not
It's a lot, to each their own, but it's a lot.
We live in a time, honestly, where like if you're into muscle cars and your vehicle makes less than 1,000 horsepower, people are like, why don't you supercharge it?
Right.
Well, I'm at 800 horsepower and I can't keep the car on the ground. That's why, you know.
Correct.
But so the condition again was, okay, I don't want to do no body modification. We want to see it fit in its natural environment. So funny enough, 2 days later, we had that 9 liter Viper engine shipped out to us, 3D scanned it, put it in CAD, and it fits.
And it fits in here.
Right. So we are not touching the firewall. It will be a very, very, very tight fit, but it's going to be a great Cherokee with 6-speed manual and Atlas 2 transfer case.
Wow. I mean, don't take this in the wrong way, but it almost looks OE. You know,
that's what we tried to do,
like,
right?
Seeing plastic here instead of some custom one-off aluminum or stainless fabricated piece, which I love that stuff, by the way. I love that stuff, but it's like, these have been engineered and proven to work. Why mess with them, right?
Correct. There's a couple of identifiers in this vehicle that are like the battery, you always want to see it there. The heater boxes, you always want to see them there. And like the reservoirs on this side.
Yeah.
Batteries were, the original bracket just sucked, right?
Yeah.
It's a one bolt clamp, and literally you curve it around.
This is pretty industrial looking,
right.
What you got going on here.
You take a curve a little too hard, and the battery would basically land on your exhaust manifolds.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not a good thing. All this bracketry is all done in-house. It's all CNC'd, and you'll find this back in every single Vigilante. We have part numbers for it. You can, if it's serviced somewhere and people need these brackets, we can ship them out. This is actually the very first automatic that we do. Most of the other ones are always manuals.
Got it. Okay.
So that's also really fun for us to see that, there's a whole community of people that...
It's still in demand.
No, I get it. I mean, look, if I had one of these, I'd probably want it in a manual. I gotta be honest.
And that 6-speed is just fabulous.
Butter.
A short throw, very, very fun to drive.
Body, bumper fitment, grill, all that stuff still stock, right? Like you haven't tucked bumpers.
Again, that is the identity of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And there's enough people out there that can put a more modern looking bumper on there with a winch and this and that.
Not what you
For
were going
me,
for.
it needs to be so subtle that you don't see that it's all modern under it, right?
I get it, yeah.
I mean, this is a 3-piece bumper. On the original vehicle, if you do like this, it would literally just bend down a couple of inches and scratch the body. This is, because we have this frame now that is boxed and sturdy and everything, we have a whole piece that is holding this bumper in a way more sturdy way than what it is. So this is all stuff that we engineer in-house, and that again comes standard. Same thing for the heater boxes. Very modern. It's the latest generation vintage air. These heater boxes and the blower motors really make the identity of the vehicle. So most of the times in the rest of the mod world, you'll see people just shaving
100%.
that off, and I want to see those in there. But to make the Hemi fit in there, we literally just recreated an empty box that now fits the Hemi on the side here, and that is full of valves and control modules for the vintage air unit, but there is no heater core in there. And this blower motor is there just for the eye to look.
Wow.
To look right.
So you're really about keeping the heritage of what the vehicle was and throwing out all the antiquated stuff. And
right,
putting in.
and the stuff, because I've never owned anything else than a Jeep in my life.
Really?
We've probably driven thousands of these.
That's hardcore.
Right?
That's hardcore, dude.
Way hardcore!
It is real hardcore. The part that he didn't get into, he and his dad got their first Jeep to restore at 15. You were 15 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
Like a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, I was a Cherokee Chief, which was a disaster because we didn't know what we were doing back in the days, right?
Yeah. By the way, I love the graphic down the side. Is that original to this?
It is.
See, I'm showing how much I actually don't know the variants. No, I really don't, because I kind of remember these as a kid, and especially the Wagoneers with the wood going down the side.
They produced those from 63 all the way to 1991. 63, no wood paneling, but very heavy gauge steel on there. Way better built than any late model Grand Wagoneer.
Yeah.
The Cherokees, 2 doors or 4 doors. The Cherokees also came with a Y-track version. You had fender flares on there on the front and the back.
And this is stock flaring here.
This is the original body that's been stripped down to the bare metal, always media blasted. It is father, son, 2 assistants that are doing this the very old school way. Heat, hammer, sheet metal fabrication.
Yeah.
There is no Bondo on these cars.
He's allergic to Bondo, by the way, so no Bondo allowed on any of our vehicles.
There is, but that
A lot of
comes,
people aren't willing to go the expense, the time,
That's
the
it.
energy involved. Yep.
that obviously comes with also kind of a price that there will be flaws in there, and the panels, the Jeeps were never adjusted to perfection, right?
Yeah.
They were renowned for being built in a fast and speedy way.
Yeah. What's for this one, let's say somebody goes, I want that exact vehicle, build it for me, color, identical. What's this car going to cost me?
They start at $295 and it goes up from there.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
What's going to affect the price is the drivetrain, the possible small little add-ons that we can do to it.
Yeah.
But literally,
Plus probably options on the interior. I got to guess there's the guy that wants basic cloth versus the one that wants Alcantara and some rare Italian leather. And
so there's just things that we won't do.
Yeah.
No diamond square interiors.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Don't look at the seat on my motorcycle.
That's
over
not
here, by the way.
Oh, it's
Right?
beautiful and we appreciate it, but as you can tell,
No, I get it.
the Jeep fanatic, he wants to stay
you're
as
a total
close
geek
to
for
the
Jeep.
yeah.
I don't
That's
mean,
it.
You know what
Well,
I mean? It's like,
there's that, but there's also the fact that, it does happen that now and then your life changes. You want to reconfigure your life, and maybe this vehicle doesn't fit into your life again, into your next life, right? You want to be able to protect the investment of your client. You want them to find back their money.
Yeah.
So as long as we can defend the product that we stand behind, I have no problem in finding a new buyer for a
Gotcha.
vehicle that we've built with pride and love
Yeah.
and with respect. Let me show you a little on the mirror here. So you'd close the door and it would wobble immediately.
your mirror's
right?
quickly out of
you
adjustment
You
now,
could
right?
immediately go around, readjust it, go back and hope that it wouldn't, wobble down the street on the first bump.
Yeah.
Right? I love the style of this mirror, but I hated the functionality.
Yeah.
So again, we 3D scanned that, and we made it full billet aluminum CNC'd mirror that is holding in place.
Wow.
That looks like the stock. The only hint that you have
does.
is that you have the logo in the front there.
Oh, that's
that is
slick. I didn't even see that.
very, very subtle.
Yeah.
All right?
That's something I gotta hand it to you. I have seen companies that do low volume manufacturers like you, right? That overbrand their vehicle so much where it's like what GM does. Like, I know I'm sitting in a Chevy. I bought the damn thing. Do you need to put it everywhere on the car for me to... Like, on the outside, I get it, but on the interior, come on.
We really try to push the limits.
I can tell.
Well, and that's why I dove into this with him. He builds and goes through like he was building a car for himself every time. So the detail, it's impeccable. Sometimes I think he's a little crazy.
Sure. No, I'm with you.
But when the customer gets it, they so appreciate every thought and detail put into every single inch of the vehicle.
When you're starting to get up into that range of the $300,000+ range,
It better be impeccable.
It better be right. Hopefully, over time, the brand creates value.
Correct.
Icon's been great at that. I mean, those vehicles, if a Bronco owner, wants to sell that vehicle, they can easily get their money back. Oftentimes, it'll appreciate above, because there's so much brand value. And
Correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. That's a conversation that we have all the time, that when you see Vigilante, it becomes a brand that speaks about integrity and quality.
I love it, man. So you really have retained...
Correct. There's no bucket seats in there that don't look original.
Oh, that's a good climb up, isn't it?
Yeah, we can build these with the power steps.
Of course.
That's not a problem.
How high is the lift on this?
It's adjustable, right? So we're about 2.5 inches over the stock height, but it can go up to 4 inches, depending on what the client's going to do with it.
Dude, it's crazy how much you've retained, like with stock to it, but it all, I mean, I'm sorry, that is that original?
Let me show you a few things here. So, yes, it's not bought from Summit. It's the original one that's been restored, and that's chrome plated.
But you put a regulator, nice.
But it operates, it functions properly.
So cool.
Stock radio, fully gutted, Bluetooth receiver, high quality audio in there. So literally you can scroll through the songs. It will change the songs on your iPhone or whatever through the original knobs.
But that's what the original
this
radio
is
looked like.
An AM FM CB radio, Jeep, original Jeep radio. We just gutted it out and put everything in there. This is all Morin Giles, very high quality leather. Mm-hmm. It's very subtle on this car, but there is a flower emboss on these two strips on the seats. That was original in the Jeep vehicle.
Really?
But in the vinyl, it was always pressed in the vinyl.
Yeah.
So we scanned that again, made a die for it, and now we can press it into the leather.
Are these original gauges?
Original gauging, gutted out, all modernized. It's all working with the Hemi, and it's all calibrated to the Hemi as well. There's a vehicle speed sensor on this, but there's also a GPS speed hut device under the hood that basically corrects based on the tire size. You always have the accurate speed. Full LED in the entire vehicle, not a cold LED, something warm and true to.
But even the headliner, I mean, the fitment of this is so flawless. I had to touch it and I was like, there's gotta be Alcantara somewhere here. Nope. I tell you, dude, I really like, and I mean it in the best way, you're such a geek for Jeeps that you've retained all the historic elements of it.
Yeah.
But gotten rid of all the cheapness of it. I mean, this is
it.
far from a cheap vehicle.
It's-
I mean, I don't mean dollar-wise.
Right.
I mean in quality.
It feels really solid. We put a lot of attention in that. I mean, this is a whole modern steering column, but that is made to fit, to look like the stock one.
Is this still a stock wheel?
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
It is. Let me tell you something else, of which we're really, really proud of.
Yeah, man.
I mean, this is so much glass. We live in Texas. The sun just bakes these vehicles, right? So it gets hot in here.
Yeah.
AC and the original Jeeps sucked. Really, really bad.
They were terrible.
Right? So we partnered up with Vintage Air. They're down the road from us, super nice people. We were actually one of their first customers to have this new Magnum 5, I think it's called. Basically the biggest AC unit that they've ever made. We made the bracketry, fit it nicely under there. The output was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their vents, just didn't fit with the aesthetic in here.
No, it
Right?
wouldn't. No.
We 3D scanned the original part again, and this is printed from here all the way to there and painted to match and to work.
This whole panel.
That whole panel is 3D printed
Wow,
to
man.
look like the original, but it's way skinnier, and we have now a really solid output of air. You'll see, it's amazing. The AC traditionally was always an add-on in these vehicles, right? So really stupidly built because you had the heater control here and you had your AC basically on this piece of plastic down there.
Okay.
So literally you could have the heater and the AC on at the same time. It was just stupid. Because we really dived into this, we changed out the fascia here, but it looks stock. So now in function of where our temperature is, it's gonna be either AC or heat.
So you're not even telling it turn AC on, it's just where your slider's at.
The slider knows that at certain point it kicks in on one side or the other. If you don't know the original vehicle very, very well, you would never know that this is a little different.
Yeah, yeah. So I know there's more to talk about. Can we go drive and we'll talk more while we go for a drive?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I can tell there's a lot more to talk about. So
Yep.
Let's go for a drive. The first thing that jumps out to me just sitting here is the feel of the steering wheel, the materials used. It's bizarre because I mean, you know what you built here. You made it look like it was, but just better.
Yeah.
You know?
We put so much attention. Like same thing with seats. You know, you can't do any quality work if you're just replacing seat covers on a car.
Right.
This is new foam in there that's cut for this vehicle.
But it still is the stock, the original seat, right? It's just all refoamed.
Refoamed. There's no real parts market out there.
Yeah.
The brackets all been powder coated. It's all new springs. It's all new foam. It's all high quality leather. You can feel that, right?
Yeah.
This dash pad was never. It used to be just cracked vinyl, right?
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen this, Daniel. Custom American vehicles typically do not have any form of e-brake on them. The bulk of what we do is pro touring and resto mod type vehicles. Almost never do they have an e-brake on them.
We've messed around with the electric e-brake as well. I just don't like the response. It takes a couple of seconds before it releases it.
Yeah, this is a total smile machine right away. I'm like,
yeah, you'll get thumbs up everywhere. It's like,
I'll bet.
You drive a Lambo, and you have your crowd that is gonna appreciate it and that's gonna give you positive feedback. But there's also like the haters that are it's a rich man's car and this and that. With this, you never have that. Everybody's got his story with one, and they love the attention to the quality and they love to see it back. It puts a smile on people's faces and it puts a smile on your own face just driving it all the time.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah. I see it has 1,975 miles on it.
Correct.
How many have you built so far, you said?
We've built about 25 Jeeps overall, different types of restorations, right? Just from going from classic to this.
What's average miles that you'll put on to make sure everything's working proper?
I like to put 1,000 on there.
I love that.
And sometimes it takes a little more.
Yep.
So this has been back and forth to Big Bend. Big Bend is kind of our point to go because you have altitude. There's enough environmental changes that allow you to test out things like fuel pressure, venting is critical, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
You left the.
Of course.
You left the ashtray.
Yeah, but it's all powder coated and
no, I noticed how clean it is.
Yeah. This is gilded on there, so just like the edges on a painting. It's a guy that's doing normally like artwork on frames of paint frames, or however you say it. Sorry for my little Euro language.
I'm sorry. I'm partially paying attention to you, Daniel, and I'm. In my shop, it's not super light, right? So now we're out in the light, and I'm sitting here, so I start doing this. I find myself looking around at all the little detailed elements of this. The fit and finish, how nice it is. And yet there's no question, you know what you're sitting in. You haven't done what we were talking about, right? Where you change the interior I mean, it's one of my gripes lately is people changing interiors so dramatically, which part of me likes the artistry of it, but when you sit in the vehicle, you forget what you're sitting in.
Yeah, what we're building here with this brand, that doesn't fit into that.
It doesn't at all. And back to the miles thing, you know, the reason I brought it up, you know, there's builders out there that'll turn cars over to their owner and it'll have 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles on them. And sorry for any of you builders that fall into this category. I don't mean to be talking shit about you, but at the same time I'm going to, is that I think it's a level of arrogance. If you think you can build a ground up vehicle and turn it over with less than a couple hundred miles on it and that there's not going to be any issues, that's kind of pretty arrogant in my opinion.
Yeah, to each their own, but I wouldn't do it that way. It's not, you discover so many things, you got to retorque things, everything that leaves, because, you know, it's once we're set on a date for delivery and that we're like 99.9% fully happy with the vehicle.
Yeah.
Because things move. And we've taken this car apart into a million pieces and put it back together.
Yeah.
Body mounts need to be checked and everything needs to be checked. So yeah, 1,000 to 1,500 miles we always try to put on the vehicle. This one got a little bit more.
But it lets me know that you found the issues and what you're turning over to your customer who's spending, you know, let's be honest, dude, you're up in that $300,000+ range. This guy's got to know, when he looks at that odometer, he's got to know, yeah, I can turn the key and just go drive this thing and enjoy it.
Floor it, man, floor it.
I like it, man. This thing really drives nice.
It's nice, right?
Like you said, if you want to get in and drive it to New York, you're good to go. Have any issue along the way, pull into a Dodge dealer and they're good to plug in.
Right.
The suspension on this, that's smile horsepower right there, man.
And it's more than enough.
I mean, look, I know some of you guys out there, you need the 1,000 horsepower. Cool, get it. Hell, he'll make it for you.
Yeah, and it's built for that, right? The chassis can take it, the axles can take it.
Yes.
Transmission, it's a Bowler transmission that's built.
It is a bowler.
Yeah.
It is.
It's built for 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's a $16,000 transmission in this car.
So this car here could handle an engine swap and go to 1,000 horsepower?
We take the best.
That's the way you do it. You do the best of the best.
Yeah, you could get away with Dana 44s in the front and back. No, we put a 16 in the back because that's where the power is going.
Yeah.
And whether it's a 485 horsepower or it's 700 horsepower, that axle can take it.
They're all getting the same transmission. Gotcha.
Right?
Probably has that great Jeep turning radius. Oh yeah, it does. Oh my gosh. That nice tight turn, right?
It's not bad, right?
No. The steering feels incredible on this. It's rack and pinion, yeah?
No, it's not. It's still a box. It's a Borgson, but a variable ratio Borgson box.
I really like this car, man. Being honest with you, dude, I can't imagine putting the Hellcat power plant in this and now having 700 horsepower to deal with. I mean, I'll bet at that point it's pretty easy to break tires loose. And
I mean, just people doing it on stock chassis, and it's just,
I know.
You're
scary.
asking for trouble.
I couldn't agree more. What's the exhaust on this? I never asked you.
It's a very basic exhaust that we just custom made, but out of steel because it's
it's a full custom in-house exhaust that you guys are making.
Yeah, but it's nothing. Normally we always use stainless steel, but it's always louder with the stainless steel.
Oh, is it?
Resonates more. It makes sound when you floor it, but if you don't floor it, you can have a normal conversation.
Totally.
That's
100%.
That's what you want, right? You want to
Yeah,
have that
yeah.
balance in between.
The shift points are great on it.
So all that I can configure, right? So we have different profiles in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can change that on the. I'll show you. So if you want to change the shift points, you do that.
Oh
on the
my
fly here.
gosh, right there. So will the owner will have that app also, so he'll be able to change it?
We made a couple of profiles and we'll put the profile in. We'll go for a ride together and we'll put that one in as default. And no, it's all canvas driven and
I love that. That whole thing we were talking about money earlier, I need to make a lot more of it because I need one of these. I need one of these in my life. I'm not even kidding you.
the radiators we built. Hey, look at that! What's here? A Cherokee wagon here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's how they start.
Want to go put a note on his truck?
We have about 40 donor vehicles.
Do you
out
really?
there. Yeah, it's okay.
And you were talking about, you guys, I want you to hear this because I think it's neat. So off camera we were talking, you complete 8 to 10 per year?
That's where we're at right now. We're trying to bump that up to maybe 12, 15 cars, but that will really be the max of where we want it to be.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna play on quality and it's not gonna be fun anymore, and I want to have fun.
You want to
doing
keep
this.
it fun.
I want to be able to put my hands in these cars myself.
So you're not, right now, you're not sitting behind a desk
way.
somewhere. You're actually
Building
out.
this thing, man.
How big is your crew?
We have 12 guys.
That was just bitching, man. I mean, you know, you're driving down in the road in something that's so nostalgic and historic, looking very 70s, and yet everything about it, other than the look, is modern. And I just absolutely love that. So you have the reliability, the drivability of something that you can just enjoy, and yet retaining all the classic history of what that era of Jeep is. Totally, truly knocked out by what Daniel, his wife Rachel, and Vigilante are doing. And I would say I wish them huge success, but I don't think they need my wishes because I think they're going to do quite well. With that, I'll say thanks for hanging and watching what we do, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, you guys, later.